Hi everyone, my name is Leah Kopke and I'm a 3D motion design freelancer. I also have a podcast where each week I cover another 3D modeling tool for Cinema 4D. Welcome to my 3D modeling podcast. Today's 3D modeling tool is Matrix Extrude. I find this tool is really useful for doing things like adding horns to a character or adding a tail to a character. It can be used for a lot of other things as well. Really, your imagination is the limit here, but I just want to show you an example of how I've used it in the past. So I had actually shown this to you in the last episode. This creature that I've 3D modeled is a combination of a robot, a lizard, and a dragon. I've been working on it for fun more than really anything else. Maybe I'll rig and texture it at some point. But what you'll notice is that we have this tail here, and you can use the matrix extrude in order to create things like this tail. So I'd like to show you a little bit of how this works. So I click the plus button here to create a new project. I'm going to drop in a cube and I'm going to drop in a sphere by holding a click on here and releasing it on the sphere. I'll move the sphere out here. I'll turn on garage shading lines so that we can see this. I don't need this many segments. I'm going to change it to 12. The more segments or polygons we're extruding, the more RAM it will take your computer to do so. I'll change this to a hexahedron because I like the topology of a hexahedron. Now we have our sphere and we have our cube, but we need to make these editable so that we can edit them in polygon mode. So we're going to change these from being a primitive object to being editable, and you can do that by hitting the Make Editable button down here, or you can use the hotkey listed when we hover over this, which is the C hotkey. So with both of these selected, I'll go ahead and hit C, and now they're both editable. So our sphere, I'm just going to move it out a little bit more because we're going to be extruding this. Now you can find this tool under the Mesh menu under Add, and you'll see it's right here, and it's grayed out because we don't have anything selected right now and we aren't in polygon mode. So we need to switch over from model mode to polygon mode. And when we go back in here under Add, you'll see Matrix Extrude is now an option that we can click on, and you'll also see the hotkey for it is MX. So you can choose whether if you just like to click on it or if you'd like to use the hotkey MX. If you're finding you're using it a lot and you want to add this tool to your UI, you can do that. You can do that with Shift C to open up the commander here, and you can search for matrix. Now with matrix you're searching for, we want the matrix extrude. So we could drop this in here and you can save it as a layout up here by clicking on these three dots, save layout as. For right now, I'm just going to move forward with this and we're going to show how this works. Now that we are in polygon mode and I don't have any polygons selected, if I use this tool by clicking it here or I use the hotkey MX, if I click and drag my mouse, you'll see this tool starts to work. Now, something you may notice is that it's extruding all the polygons, and that's what happens when you have no polygons selected. It'll just extrude all of them. I'm going to hit undo for right now. And let's say we move over to our cube. If we actually select a specific polygon, that will be what extrudes. And we have a lot of settings in here, as you can see in our attributes manager. I'm going to hit undo. That's Control Z on PC, Command Z on a Mac. But quickly, I just like to run through some of the hotkeys you can use with this. If we click and drag, we're just affecting the move in the Z. If we hold down Shift and drag, we are affecting the scale in the X, Y, and Z. per each one of these steps. If we hold down Control and move the mouse now instead, you'll see we're affecting the rotation in the X direction. You can also manually adjust these. So we can adjust the amount of move, and that is affecting how much this is extruding per each one of these steps. You can think of this as extruding multiple times on top of itself, and you can affect the number of steps here. You can affect how much it moves in the X, the Y, and the Z. And you might be wondering where these coordinates are coming from, and I'll show you in just a moment. You can affect the rotation in the X, the Y, and Z manually as well. So this can be quite fun actually to do. And again, you can affect the scale. So now this looks a little bit more ribbon-like. I'm going to hit undo on this because I want you to see that when we click on a polygon, it has an axis. This axis is different from the axis on this polygon, which is different from this polygon. And these are the coordinates that are being used right now for when we use the matrix extrude. If I want to use the matrix extrude and use world coordinates instead of polygon coordinates, I can uncheck this right here. And then instead, when we're extruding, we are using world coordinates. I usually like to use polygon coordinates because it's just easier. And those are the main settings that you need to know to do this. Now, if you want to, you can add some variation. So like how we had mentioned previously when we were extruding this sphere, if you don't have anything selected, it will extrude everything. So I'll click and drag. And now we have this very interesting shape here. And it's kind of fun to do this and to see what Cinema 4D creates. But if you'd like to add some variation to this, you'll see you have this option of none. If we have none selected, there will be no variation. If you click Initial, this will create variation that's the same as the initial step for all the following steps. So let me explain a little bit of what your move min, max, rotate min, max, and scale min, max do, because this will help you understand initial and per step variation. So you could see these are percentages. You have a minimum percentage and a maximum percentage. These percentages are your ability to select the percentage of deviation from your settings up here being applied to what is being extruded. So you could see that if we set both the min and the max to the same value, there is no longer any deviation from that, so they aren't having any variation. It looks the same as if we have this set to none. The further these percentages are apart, the more they vary. So by affecting our move min, we are affecting the variation from this setting here, from our move setting. And if we adjust these, you can see that it has a move min variation and a max variation, and it's basing it on these settings up here. So as I move these, it's taking into account those changes. And the same goes for rotation. You can see that when I adjust this here. Now for each one of these polygons that have the matrix extrude chosen, it's varying the rotation min by the percentage I choose. That's the amount of deviation. And you can also do this with the scale. Now you may be wondering what the difference is between initial variation and per step variation. Initial variation will vary the matrix extrude per each polygon that's being extruded. So that polygon, it will apply the same variation to the first step, to the second step, to the third step, to the fourth step for each specific polygon. Now, if you choose the per step, it's not just varying it by each polygon that the matrix extrude is being applied to, it will apply it to each step. Each step will be a little bit different depending on what your min and max are, as well as the settings up here. So you can see that changed a little bit. And that's really all the settings for this tool. It's a pretty powerful and fun one. I feel like it's fun to play with and to see what it does. And it has a lot of great uses for it that even go beyond 3D modeling creatures. As I've mentioned, the limits of what you can 3D model are just limited to what you can imagine, and you can do so many things with this tool. So I really hope you found this tutorial helpful. I enjoyed going over it with you, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode if you stick around. If you'd like to be notified when that episode comes out, please hit like and subscribe. And thank you again so much for watching.